My name is James, and this next story happened about 7 or 8 years ago, back when my risk tolerance matched that of my friend Charles. Charles was notorious in our group for finding places you weren't supposed to go, abandoned buildings, derelict factories, forgotten structures buried in forests. He spent hours on Google Earth and niche forums, sending screenshots to the group chat. Most friends entertained his ideas without following through. I usually said yes. We'd been friends since high school, bonded by similar thresholds for risk. While others heard his pitches and said, "That's insane," I heard them and said, "When are we going?" It led to great memories and a few situations I still wonder how we survived. This story covers one of those situations. One weekend, Charles texted about a fire lookout tower he'd found deep in some forest. I wish I could remember which one. Decommissioned years ago, sitting untouched in the middle of nowhere. He wanted to hike to it, climb it, spend the night 70 feet up. I was skeptical. Usually places like that are fenced off, but I agreed to check it out. The idea of a 360 view over endless trees sounded incredible. We picked a weekend. Charles handled all planning, drive time, gear, navigation. 3 hours away, then a 4-mile off-trail hike. We drove out early Friday morning and hit the woods by afternoon. I expected to get lost, expected not to find it, which made
Actually seeing it through the trees, all the more astonishing. "No way," I blurted when its height registered. Even more astonishing, no fence, no barriers, just a metal skeleton rising from the forest floor, waiting to be climbed. The cab at the top was a small square room with windows on all 4 sides. A metal staircase zigzagged up the frame, ending in a vertical ladder section for the final stretch to the cab. The whole thing looked untouched for decades. Lower railings were bent or missing. Graffiti covered support beams near the base. Not exactly a structure anyone eager to live would climb. Charles was practically giddy. While I hesitated, he started climbing. I yelled at him to be careful, then figured, what the hell, and followed. We tested each step as we went. Most felt solid, but some bolts had rusted through, steps wobbling dangerously. The vertical ladder section near the top, 20 feet of straight climbing inside a narrow metal cage, was the sketchiest part. The adrenaline rush was insane. That's what Charles lived for. He made it up without issue. The view from the cab defied description. Miles of forest in every direction. We timed it perfectly. Sun maybe an hour from setting. Plan was to camp overnight and catch sunrise. The wraparound walkway outside gave us space to chill, crack beers, enjoy conversation. Sun dropped. Sky transitioned from orange to purple to deep blue in minutes. Once light vanished, the forest below became an ocean of absolute black. No lights anywhere. Stars emerged in numbers I'd never seen. But being alone out there in that darkness started creeping me out. Not being able to see anything, despite knowing a whole world existed below us, it felt wrong. Charles noticed my antsiness and started messing with me, grabbing my shoulder, typical guy stuff. Then he smacked his metal water bottle against the tower's side. The sound echoed impossibly loud in every direction, probably traveling for miles. So loud and ominous, I actually got angry. I told him I wanted to go inside the cab. He finally got the hint. The cab was hollowed out, empty. I started setting up my sleeping gear while Charles finished his beer outside. Before I finished, his voice came through. Quiet and serious, very un-Charles, telling me to come back out. I walked around to where he sat. He pointed diagonally downward into the forest. At first, I thought it was another joke. Then I saw it. A light, faint, distant, but definitely down there, weaving through trees at walking pace. My first thought, someone who heard the clang. I whispered, telling him he was stupid. We were about to get caught. He looked at me confused. "You think that's a person?" Now I was confused. What else could it be? He said the light moved too evenly. No wobble, no swing like someone carrying a lantern. I couldn't tell from that distance, but he wasn't wrong. We watched in silence. The light kept coming. After minutes, it became obvious. It was getting closer, moving perfectly, unnaturally, like floating. Charles asked what we should do. I had no answer. Climb down? Toward it? Then the light zipped forward, skipped a beat. 1 second steady movement, next a sudden lurch forward, then back to steady. My palms started sweating. Charles was clearly terrified, too. I kept trying to convince myself it was random wandering, wishful thinking. It was heading straight for the tower. About 10 minutes later, it reached us. Light directly below, stationary. From our vantage straight above, we could see it, but not whoever held it. We stared for what felt like forever. Suspense unbearable. Then Charles did something I wanted to throw him off the tower for. He yelled down, "Hey, you good?" revealing our presence. No response. Light didn't move. He yelled again. Nothing. 70 feet up, abandoned tower, middle of nowhere, something blocking our only exit, completely trapped. We watched that light for 30 minutes, whispering occasionally. It never moved. I'd had enough. I grabbed my flashlight and aimed straight down at the tower's base. Still couldn't see the source. Eventually, we accepted powerlessness and tried to resume normalcy, though I never took my eyes off that spot for more than a few seconds. Charles theorized someone placed an LED there to mess with us. Who would bother? Then I glanced down, and the light was gone. Just darkness. Charles seemed relieved. I was the opposite. Someone down there, and now we couldn't see them. That terrified me. He said we'd hear anyone climbing the ladder. Probably true, but still unsettled. I suggested we wait out the night inside the cab. He agreed. We set up sleeping bags, neither intending to sleep. That decision saved us. 20 minutes after going inside, we heard noises, metallic clangs echoing up through the steel frame. Not footsteps, more like someone striking support beams with a wrench. A few minutes later, grinding sounds, metal twisting against metal, lasting several seconds. The sounds came from different spots. Whatever caused them was moving down there. This continued on and off. I tried mapping locations mentally, determining if they approached. Couldn't make sense of any of it. Then I saw something. A dark outline moved across the window glass. Before I could process, it passed in front of another pane. I yelled. Charles scrambled away. We pressed our backs against the door, prepared to block entry. I scanned windows for the figure. Nothing. Impossible. Unless crawling on all fours, I should have seen them. We stayed like that for hours, Charles hyperventilating beside me. Most terrifying night of my life. When sunrise finally came, I counted to 3, swung the door open violently. No one. We descended as fast as possible. 3/4 down, Charles stopped on a landing, staring at the next section. An entire staircase section was gone. Not just steps, straight up missing. Someone had deconstructed it during the night while we sat directly above. Those sounds we heard. But that meant they crossed that gap twice in darkness. No way. And we would have heard that level of work, far louder than occasional clangs. We had to jump. Charles twisted his ankle. I was fine. We made it down. No one waited at the bottom. No removed stairs either, as far as we could see. We didn't stick around to search. I still have no explanation for any of it. The light, the sounds, the figure outside the window, the impossible staircase removal. Every time I see Charles, we still talk about it.